Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Tuesday.
It is.
Nice day here in Kentucky. Morning.
It looks
Chilly,
like
but it's nice.
I was gonna say, it looks really pretty through the window, but I haven't been outside yet.
Yeah, it's
The thermometer says it's not so pretty.
well, I get that, but it's nice here because it'll be cold in the morning, but it's going to be like 55
Right.
when it warms up, so that's okay.
Right.
I'll take that for January.
Right.
I'm used to worse, so
Exactly.
anyway, we're in that. Lazarus becomes sick and dies. John chapter 11, starting at verse 1. A man named Lazarus was sick. He lived in Bethany with his sisters, Mary and Martha. This is the Mary who later poured the expensive perfume on the Lord's feet and wiped them with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was sick. So the two sisters sent a message to Jesus telling him, "Lord, our dear friend is very sick." But when Jesus heard about it, he said, Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory of God, so that the Son of God will receive glory from this. So although Jesus loved Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, he stayed where he was for the next 2 days. Finally, he said to his disciples, "Let's go back to Judea." But the disciples objected. "Rabbi," they said, "only a few days ago the people in Judea were trying to stone you. Are you going there again?" Jesus replied, "There are 12 hours of daylight every day. During the day people can walk safely. They can see because they have the light of this world. But at night there is danger of stumbling because they have no light." Then he said, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up." The disciples said, "Lord, if he is sleeping, he will soon get better." They thought Jesus meant Lazarus was simply sleeping, but Jesus meant Lazarus had died. So he told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there. For now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him." Thomas, nicknamed the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let's go too, and die with Jesus." And now the commentary. The village of Bethany was about 2 miles east of Jerusalem on the road to Jericho. It was near enough to Jerusalem for Jesus to be in danger, but far enough away as not to attract attention prematurely. As their brother grew very sick, Mary and Martha turned to Jesus for help. They believed in his ability to help because they had seen his miracles. We too know of Jesus' miracles. When we need extraordinary help, Jesus offers extraordinary resources. We should not hesitate to ask him for assistance. Any trial a believer faces can ultimately bring glory to God, because God can bring good out of any bad situation. And we find that in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, and Romans chapter 8, verse 28. When trouble comes, do you grumble, complain, and blame God, or do you see your problems as opportunities to honor him? Jesus loved this family and often stayed with them. He knew their pain but did not respond immediately. His delay had a specific purpose. God's timing, especially his delays, may make us think he's not answering or is not answering the way we want. But he will meet all our needs according to his perfect schedule and purpose. And it's found in Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 19. Patiently await his timing. Daylight symbolizes the knowledge of God's will and reliance on his guidance, and night, the absence of his knowledge, combined with self-reliance. When we move ahead in darkness, we will be likely to stumble. If Jesus had been with Lazarus during the final moments of Lazarus' sickness, he might have healed him rather than let him die. But Lazarus died so that Jesus' power over death could be shown to his disciples and others. The raising of Lazarus was an essential display of his power, and the resurrection from the dead is a crucial belief in the Christian faith. Jesus not only raised himself from the dead, John chapter 10, verse 18, but he also has the power to raise others. We often remember Thomas the doubter because he doubted Jesus' resurrection, John chapter 20, verse 25. But here he demonstrated love and courage. The disciples knew the dangers of going with Jesus to Jerusalem, and they tried to talk him out of it. Thomas merely expressed what all of them felt. When their objections failed, they were willing to go, even though it appeared they might have to die with Jesus. They may not have understood why Jesus would be killed, but they were loyal. There are unknown dangers in doing God's work. It is wise to consider the high cost of being Jesus' disciple.
Because you will be, in this country, we're fairly safe from death over our beliefs.
Yeah.
Not in other countries.
No.
This country, we will just get ridiculed,
Censored,
canceled.
right?
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And probably made fun of.
Yep.
It's not a life or death situation typically in the United States
At the moment.
But in other countries, it's a very real.
Yeah.
Very real.
Very real threat. I
Threat.
mean, we cannot go to some of these Middle Eastern countries and do what we're doing here. Just sit at the kitchen table with the windows wide open for everybody and anybody that wants to look in and see what we're doing or hear us.
Right.
And expect not to have trouble.
Right.
So we're very blessed here in America to be able to do that.
Yes, we are.
So.
And I think it did bring great glory to God for him to wait until Lazarus had passed rather than just healing him like he'd done so many others. However, could you imagine being in Mary and Martha's situation whenever they called him and asked him for help, come help, and he just stays around la-da-da-da-da where he's at, Could you imagine the disappointment that they must have felt? However, their disappointment in him not immediately coming would also prove that their faith was not so great that they thought he could heal him from there.
Yeah, it's true.
And Jesus didn't have to go physically to do anything. He could have done whatever he wanted from wherever he's at.
He's demonstrated that more than a couple of times.
So.
And he held back because when he got there, Lazarus had already been in the grave for like 3 or 4 days. I think it was like more closer to 4 days. Okay. And they're like, oh no, we're not opening that up because it's going to really reek. Yeah, it's going to stink. So he wanted to make sure that everybody knew he was dead and there's no...
Right.
I mean, because if he would have got there just when he was sick and it had just passed,
and
Jesus held him up, they say, well, he was.
Could have been doubt.
Yeah,
there's no doubt with the way he did it. There is no doubt.
Yeah.
And again, it proved he could not only raise himself, but he could raise us.
Yeah.
It gives us knowledge that he's got the ability to conquer our death as well.
That's right. Okay. Hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.